got too much TV. Nobody knows, nobody knows. Casper the Ghost is so friendly. Nobody knows, nobody.
Welcome to the Ska History Hour with your hosts, Jose Rojas
Hello.
and myself, Daryl Rubio, wherein the purpose of this channel is to spread awareness of ska music and its subgenres to the world. Our guests today are members of GOGO13. We've got Parker Jacobs.
How do you do?
Dustin Blad, and Jeff McPherson from St. George, Utah, and Huntington Beach, California. We appreciate the time that you guys are taking to speak with us to share your stories and your music to the ska community. Can you each tell us a little bit about yourselves, who you are, what you do in life, and would you say you're a good person? And if so, why? That's one of my new questions I've got.
Okay. Those are a lot of questions, though. Okay. My name is Parker Jacobs. What was the next thing about that?
Tell us about yourself. What do you do in life? And if you're a good person and why?
Okay. Okay. So yeah, in life, I'm an artist. And I work on the show Yo Gabba Gabba, and I'm a lifer working for the Aquabats. Whether I'm officially in or officially out, I'm always doing something for them. No matter what job I have, they seem to always take precedence. Yeah, so that's what I do, and GOGO13 was kind of where that all started, and so my career kind of comes from the snowball effect of what we did with GOGO13. And am I a good person? I don't think I'm a good person. I think I'm trying to be a good person. I want to be a good person. But if I think I'm a good person, then I'm not. I try.
Most of the time.
I'm trying. So in training. So what about you?
Well, my name is Dustin Vlad, aka Skip. Well, let's see. I was born and raised in Vegas, not in St. George, but we both moved to St. George around the same time. So
yeah, I was a SoCal ska kid,
Yeah.
and then I moved to Vegas. He was a Vegas, I moved to St. George. He moved to St. George, and we
met, collided.
We started the St. George scene.
Yeah.
there.
Wait, Dustin, were you an Attaboy Skip too?
Yeah. Well,
Attaboy Skip was named after him.
Oh,
Attaboy Skip was-
so those are my buddies. Yeah, growing up.
okay.
And some ska bands beforehand, but yeah,
Nice.
those guys were
Cool.
part of our band.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go on. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I
So
like Attaboy Skip.
I got a little excited there.
So yeah, my day job, I'm a software developer. I write apps, all kinds of stuff like
Oh.
that. Work for banks, all kinds of interesting things. I also coach a mountain biking high school team. So that's been a lot. That's kind of the fun part of my life.
Nice.
Do that. Am I a good person? Same as Parker. I try every day. I think so, but do my best.
That's all we can ask for.
That's right.
Jeff, you're up.
All right. Jeffrey McPherson, friends and family call me Dex. I've been playing ska, I guess, on and off for like as long as these guys, 32 years or something ridiculous. I got the gray hair to prove it. In my normal life, I'm a account manager or sales guy for a cybersecurity company. Am I a good person? I mean, my kids haven't been to prison yet, so at least my example,
awesome.
so that's good. But it remains to be seen. I still have time to mess up, so I don't know. So do they, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I think what's so rad is when did you start playing with us? Like 5 years ago, maybe?
November 2016, December 2016 was my first show with you guys.
Okay, so longer than that 5 years ago.
Yeah.
but I was friends with Dex way back then, before I moved to St. George, before we both started bands.
Like 14, 15. Right?
Yeah, we would when we were kids going to ska shows, and I've been trying to get. He doesn't say it, but he played with the Aquabats. He played trombone with the Aquabats, and
Hey, we all played trombone in the Aquabats.
everybody did, right? That's true. But anyways, I just think it's great that we grew up, and with Brian Gilmore, and
Mhm.
Ben Ferguson, like we kind of like have old friends, old ties that go way back that we still play together, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah. Hey, I want to share this real quick, Parker. When I was playing in the Aquabats, which is like 94, 95, I'm sure an Aquabats historian will correct me. But I remember Ben had a house in Garden Grove, and we practiced at his house once. And I thought, I think he was 32 or something at the time. For an 18-year-old, I was like freaking out, right? This guy's like an old man. He has a house and like kids, a real person. And
Yeah,
I remember Ben was like, I was so intimidated by him, but he's like the mellowest dude on the planet, you know?
but he was like an old guy, right?
Yeah, well, to an 18-year-old, like, whoa, this dude's
So
ancient.
yeah, he's only 10 years older than us, so
Yeah,
it had to have been right. He was like 28 or something like that, almost
yeah,
30.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're right. That's probably what it was. But anyway, this is
But
pretty funny.
yeah, now we're kind of like it's like a old guys bowling team now, when we get together and play shows.
Like now it's like we're the dads of the bands that we play with,
Yeah, that was really hard actually. And I wish Johnny Bueller was here, our guitar player, because he's kind of really takes the charge in a lot of things. But we I remember we had this show that we would play annually at an elementary school, and it was kind of like we'd lower ourselves to play in elementary school, right? And it was his kids' elementary school. And then I remember one show, um, his son was invited to play saxophone with us, and it was like, oh, that's fun. Get the kid off stage after he plays the song. It was like one of those kind of things. Like, sure, play with us, and then they asked the next year we'd play the same show, and then he put together a band and they opened up for us, and it was like, oh, that was nice. And then the next time we opened up for them, and everybody came to go see his son's band play. And so that's cool. We can take a back seat to it, but I always thought that was funny that his son's still like he's like an up and coming musician that like he's got his stuff out on Spotify. And he's got like groupies and stuff like that. We're the old
Nice.
dudes. We're not cool anymore.
Now, I like to start off and asking like the horn section if they were in the high school band starting off. Were you?
So I never was. I wish I
Oh.
was actually. So it's kind of interesting because I look back on my life back then and I think,
Mhm.
why didn't I play back then? I wish I would
Mhm.
have. I was 17 watching the Lawrence Welk show a lot as a kid and loved the horns. But then the Boss Tones released that album in '93, Don't Know How to Party. And when that video came out, what was the name of that song? The big single on
Someday, I
that?
suppose.
Someday,
Yeah,
I suppose, yeah.
great song. I literally bought a trombone, I think, like within the month that I saw that on 120 Minutes. So I'm a total late ad. I started at 17, super late.
Mhm.
Yeah, I also in high school I should have wrestled because now I'm into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So like all the stuff that I should have done, I just should have done back then and not waited. So
Yeah, I'm
Nice.
still
And
waiting to a lot of high school stuff. I'm excited to go to prom pretty soon.
yeah, totally. But Erin Ashley, the saxophonist for GOGO13, she did play in high school, and I
Yeah,
know
okay.
she's taking a class or something again at Cal State Long Beach Improv or something. So she still is actively learning. I'm actively faking it. She's actively learning. That's what's happening.
Nice.
And she was playing with us when she was in high school still, so it's kind of fun
Oh.
growing up with her too.
How
That's
difficult
cool.
it was to get horns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
getting horns in St. George. Our deal was really hard
Yeah.
finding horn players and trying horn players out, and they were just awful. And
No one had heard of ska.
So yeah, nobody knew what ska was really. So you might be familiar with bands like Stretch Armstrong, Swim Herschel Swim, Model Citizen, Insatiable. That was like Salt Lake and Provo. And on the map, St. George is the bottom. It's at the border. It's in the desert. It's the Red Rock.
Closer to Vegas.
Yeah, closer to Vegas in the desert. And so all of those bands I think they were really ahead of the California ska scene, really, in a lot of places, or at least Southern California. So we had a lot of clout being a Utah band, but there was not a Utah scene when we started, and so we poached people from like Vegas, the Attaboy Skip guys. They're the guys that came up with the horn line for Idiot Box. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. We had a recording session. We were staying at Justin Vaden's house, and
Yeah, Justin Vaden was the
sax player.
saxophone player, and Abe McCormick, musical genius, trumpet.
Yeah, and we, already had these songs ready. We had booked studio time on the big reel to reel.
Yeah.
It was the the old days, and we were staying with them out in Vegas, and they just kind of came up with that on the spot.
Yeah,
And
it's like
Wow.
2 days.
like the day before, I think, and the song we were already doing the song, but the horn line is really what makes the song for sure.
Mhm.
And we were glad to have them
Yeah.
just kind of like fill in for us
We felt like a real band after they.
yeah, with those guys. Sure.
So for Attaboy Skip, do we know whatever happened with Nicole Shoestring?
Who is she? Was she one of
She
the?
managed Attaboy, and she put
Oh.
out their for I don't think it was Super 8, it was the other one.
I just know the band members. I didn't know any of the.
Oh,
band
okay.
members. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, but GOGO13, you guys started around 1993, is that right?
Yeah, our first show was New Year's Eve at a party in my basement. It's 1993 to 1994. It was 94 was our
First one.
first show, and we played for 6 months, I think, before breaking up. But it was a solid 6 months. We played a lot of shows. We played in California.
We
a couple
recorded with
times.
the Jets.
We recorded, yeah, we did. Yeah. We were friends with the band The Jets, and they had a recording studio, and they gave us some time to record. We recorded in Vegas. We played with Meal Ticket and Real Big Fish and I guess the Aquabats, and we played with them in California. They played with us
6 Feet
in Utah, and
Right.
Good club and yeah.
yeah, and then then we both went and left the band to serve our missions for a church, and at that same time, my brother Christian started playing the Aquabats, and so I played a couple shows with the Aquabats as an Aquabat, because it was like everybody here put on a helmet, you're in the
Yeah.
band,
We all did something.
yeah, but what happened was we had so much we had shows booked in advance. There a bunch of and we had an EP that we hadn't released, but we had it on demo tape that we were circulating around, and the Aquabats basically used those shows as the reformed GOGO13, or the reformed GOGO13, which I thought was really funny. And we did have a lot of the same members, probably 4 or 5 different people played in both bands, and
Yeah.
then when I returned from my mission, the Aquabats were huge, and like there were all these bands that we would worship, like that were amazing, that were playing with the Aquabats, and so then that's what I started doing
Well, how long was your mission within that time period?
for 2 years. So I got
2 years.
back at the end of '96.
You
And
started the band with your brother Tyler, right?
Yeah, yep. Tyler, it was Tyler's idea. Tyler's like, let's do a band. And I'm like, dude, you don't even know how to play an instrument. He's like, I can do this on the keyboards.
I think we started for
You
the
know.
Battle of the Bands for the high school, right, or something.
Maybe that's what it was. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
But like, he started holding auditions in our garage, and I just knew my younger brother, and just he's really good at starting things, and the follow through is a little different. And so as like a protective brother, I kind of inserted myself, like, okay, if you're gonna do this, I don't want it to suck, like, so okay. And I remember people going, "Are you gonna be the singer?" I'm gonna be the singer. And Dustin and I were like, "Oh, you were gonna be the singer? Oh, how about let's both sing?"
Yeah, we just wanted to have fun.
Yeah, and we, it's just the way things were. They were different socially. When you go to shows, you're making friends at the shows. You were talking to people, you were seeing people outside, and so it was easy to make friends that way. I try to describe that to my own kids, and they don't grasp that concept. Wait, you talk to them like with your mouth? um, but yeah, and so it was kind of this like, yeah, we can both do it, and we both have been doing it. So
Yeah.
it's been fun, and
And was it 2001 that you guys reunited? And to present, you guys are still together?
so yeah, and that was like, I like my family wasn't really from St. George, Utah. We only lived there for a short time, and Dustin only lived there for a short time. His parents were still there, but when I came back, my brother was in California. He was living in ROV's video closet. If you remember the show ROV with Scott Barrett, and he said, "Yeah, come live with me. It's gonna be fun." And yeah, I slept in a video closet for a while, but yeah, so I don't want to get too like I don't want to like ramble too much about this, but the Aquabats, we had this thing that I created called Horchata Records that ended up just becoming the Aquabats merch after I was gone. It kind of became the Aquabats label, and I put together a compilation for the Aquabats called the Rice Capades, and we had all these different bands that were on the bill, and we were going to do a show, but the Aquabats couldn't play it. And we were going to have the Sand Fleas on there, and the Moon Monkeys, Ben Bergeson's band. We're going to have the Immortals, which is a punk band that was on there, and we needed a headliner. And so we're like, well, maybe we could get GOGO13. So a lot of the members of GOGO13 that stayed in St. George, they became a band called the Solutions. And the Solutions were doing really good at the time. They're playing well. They were a real band. They were legit. And so we invited the Solutions. They were also on the compilation to come and play at Chain Reaction.
Yeah.
And all we did was we swapped out the singer of the Solutions with me, and I just played old GOGO13 songs. But that show sold out. And then it was this because everybody's excited because the Aquabat fans were excited about seeing GOGO13, the legendary GOGO13 play. We're never that good, never lived up to the hype of the legend or whatever. But because we were kind of like the poor man's Aquabats, for the first couple of years, every show we played was packed, like sold out. Oh, another sold out show. But we never put out our demo album. We never put out an album. I think we're one of the only bands that ever toured Warped Tour that never put out an album. Because we did that in 2010, which is totally hilarious. But where am I going with this? Oh yeah, so then there's this idea of like, oh great, we're doing good. There's a lot of hype. I should probably keep playing. And it was again Tyler who convinced me to get the band back together, and then he quit. And then he didn't want to do it anymore, which is kind of funny. But
I think Parker, you're one of the first people on here that we don't even have to ask some of the questions because you've already answered them.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's
I didn't want to ramble. I come
You're
from
fine,
a
bro.
long line of ramblers, so I'm always worried I'm going to talk too much. So
It's all
You
right.
good, bro?
We'll skip
Yeah.
some of those, but
all right.
go ahead, Jose. Go ahead. But then I do want to ask Dex some questions before he has to jump off.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Jose, and then I'll
Okay.
right after.
Sure. Yeah, real quick, can you tell us the origin story of GOGO13, the name? Where did it come from? I did read it was coming from a Japanese manga comic.
Yeah.
GOGO13? Yeah.
Yeah. Golgo, GOL.
Gogo.
Yeah, and I was fans of that comic. It was kind of gnarly. He was kind of like a sniper, James Bond kind of a guy.
Yeah.
And we had a bootleg. Christian had a bootleg videotape of GOGO13 on our television in our living room, and when we set the party up that we were going to play at. Our band's name was Go Dog Go, and I thought that was a little like, okay, that's a thing that's a children's book, Go Dog Go, right?
Mhm.
So maybe we need to kind of do something that's a thing, but not our, but a little bit different, you know? And so there was GOGO13, and I was thinking of there's this mod band called what was the Glory Boys mod band? There's Secret Affair.
Oh yeah.
And the Secret Affairs, their motto was "Go Go, not Pogo." It was because they were like pushing back against punk in the late '70s, and so I was kind of adopting that idea. They all wore suits and stuff, and I was like,
Okay.
okay, well, then we'll just take out the L. We're Go-Go 13, and I guess that's a long way of saying we.
That's good. Cool.
But yeah, so that was kind of what we wanted to be. Our ideals was kind of on that mod kind of two-tone thing,
Mhm.
but we wanted to be progressive. We didn't want to just be traditional because we couldn't play traditional. We weren't good.
So I know you guys. Some of you guys are in other bands. Let's start with Dex because Dex, you've been in several bands back in the
Yeah.
day besides GOGO13. Can you talk a little about those bands?
Sure. Yeah. So first off, Parker, hey, I actually learned a lot from that background history there, GoGo 13. There's some little
Cool.
tidbits in there I hadn't heard yet. So I started playing a little late when I was 17. I mentioned that earlier. And I started a band when I didn't know how to play, I guess the way Tyler did. And I just kind of had to figure it out. In high school, I had a band called Lone Raspberry. And,
Yeah,
we
dude.
recorded an album. We
Miracle
played
Man.
for,
Here's my
yeah,
band.
yeah. We played for a couple years. I
The
loved it.
Mortician.
Yeah, that's right. You got good throwbacks here, guys. And then we broke up in '96 when we didn't break up on bad terms, but Rick joined Meal Ticket,
Mhm.
and we lost our drummer around the same time, and we're like, okay, this is kind of a new season, so we didn't play anymore after that. But in 90, again, 94, 95, I was in the Aquabats at the same time as Lone Raspberry. It was really hard to juggle both, and since Lone Raspberry was like my baby, it's like I started it. I quit the Aquabats so I could focus on Lone Raspberry because doing two bands was really tough. And the Aquabats started playing a lot.
Mhm.
Parker, you mentioned where was that one show you guys drove down from St. George to like La
Oh,
Yeah.
Mirada or something? Was it Checkers or
It's
Spankies?
in
Chex.
Whittier, right?
Chex and Whittier.
Checks. So I
That
was
was
at that show and I was like, this is awesome, because of course we know a lot of the guys in the Aquabats and all this kind of stuff, and know you guys. And anyway, it was very, very, very cool. And the Aquabats called me to play or join, and I was super stoked, right? Super stoked. We played some good shows. So after Lone Raspberry, I played in a band called the Dynamics, traditional ska. I love traditional ska. It's my absolute favorite, right? And then that later led into Kingston 10, played with the drummer, Corey Kingston. Little fun fact, I actually gave him that name. To everyone in the band, like Dex 10, John 10, everyone was something 10, but I'd always introduce Corey as Corey Kingston because of the alliteration, right? And then, after that, I played with my brothers around the same time. Other non-ska. Are we allowed to talk about non-ska stuff? Is that
Oh yeah.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
policy?
We're supposed to talk about
Yeah.
that.
Shoot.
Okay, in interview.
Yeah, I know. I played in a band with my brothers called The Arrogance, another punk band called The Loose. And then for the last since 2007, I've been playing in the kind of a synth band called Northern Labor Party. And the fun fact here that we probably should cover is starting, I think, in 05, 06, Parker, you called me once, and then Johnny B called me once saying, hey, we kind of need this trombone player. We kind of want to, add some members. And at that time, I remember, we were just having kids. I had a crazy job, and I kept on saying no. And then in 2016, went to go see you guys play at that pizza joint, Out of the Park Pizza.
Oh, with Monkey probably.
Yeah, yeah. And then in the parking lot, Johnny B, our guitarist, said, hey, Dex, we really want you to join now. And I didn't have any more excuses. I was just like, "Oh, okay." And then Parker, here's something you probably don't know. Then you guys played that October, the Halloween show at that elementary school you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
I saw pictures on Instagram or Facebook, whatever it was, and I remember being kind of bummed because I was like, oh, I guess they're never going to call me. And then I was in New Zealand in November 2016 on the side of the road because we're having some family meltdown, which always happens on vacation with any families. And then Johnny B goes, hey, can you come to practice tonight? I said, actually, I'm in New Zealand. He said, we're playing in December in Vegas. And that was my first show, 2016. But yeah, I've always played in bands. And then at the time, I was playing trombone only, right, Parker? And the keyboard player, the GOAT, he soon after, I think that first show with you guys or second show, he was busy and he quit.
Yeah, the magical goat. He's a magical
good. He's
goat.
a great keyboard
He's an
player.
amazing keyboard player, but
Great
he's a
keyboard
loser.
player. Yes.
Yeah, so it's still hard to get horn players. Even when you have horn players, they end up playing keyboards for you. And
it's funny because Johnny said, hey, Dex, how do you feel about playing keyboard and trombone? And then so we did a practice, right, with me playing keyboard. And afterwards I said, hey guys, just I was faking it because I've never played keyboard in a ska band before. Oh, really? It actually sounds okay. So anyway, I've always been playing. I plan obviously to play till I die for sure.
And I've been a fan of Dex and his family and his bands. All of those bands are amazing in their own right, man. The arrogance that I played one of their songs to my wife when we got married. Like that was.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm a fan. I've been a fan of his ever since I've known him. So it's really cool for him to be a part of our
Dex,
silly thing.
I saw Min, your guitarist.
Yes, Min from the Dynamics.
I saw Min a couple of years, twice the past couple of years.
Yes.
He doesn't remember me for anything. I don't, because I think I look so totally different than I did back in the day.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know who I am. As I tried to explain to him, he's all like, I don't know. Then I saw Amber a couple of years back too.
Yes.
Because we have a movie for a Steady Beat film coming out.
Yes, I'm excited about that.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah. And that's the last time I saw Amber for the interview. Because I'm a writer on that movie as well.
Oh,
and I've got a little interview there in there. But yeah, that's the last time I saw some of them. But your brother, he played in bass in Lone Raspberry, right?
He did, yeah. And also Kingston 10, my brother John. Yeah. Older
Got
brother
it.
John.
Got it. I still keep in touch with Jamie too.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because I had really no contact with her, and she and I just started texting just, fairly recently. Again, potential of Lone Raspberry stuff, maybe, Yeah. Hey, Parker, I feel the same way as you do, where I feel like I've had this opportunity to play with people way more talented than myself. Like you mentioned Amber and Min. I mean, they're both amazing, right? Corey Kingston, even my brother John, great bass player. I've always kind of felt like I was the little brother in all these bands that's just kind of like faking his way, as compared to some of the other guys I play with. And a good example of that. What's that?
Amber's got a lot of solo stuff. She's got a couple solo CDs that she has.
Amber Long Fox?
Yeah, Amber Fox.
Yeah, yes. I went to high school with her.
You did? Love her. No way. I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah, we had a lot of classes together. But yeah, I mean, she's the Halloween witch as well, right? At the Halloween parade every year.
That's right.
She rides a rocket float, and she's like,
wow, small world.
She's got a
yeah. That stuff is so good.
Yeah, it is. It's like a swingish, rockabilly-ish.
Yes. So I was in the Dynamics when she met her now husband Bob, and they started dating. I remember all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
It's just ska bringing people together once again.
Yeah,
sure is. Full circle.
Yeah, it's a small world.
I also want to mention this real quick. Speaking of like people that are incredible musicians that I have never really felt qualified to play with, our drummer at GOGO13, Paul, is one of those. He's a phenomenal musician. He has no business playing with us, Parker.
Well, I don't know. I've just really hit the jackpot. I mean, we had Travis Barker in our band for a while too, like sitting next to him all the time on tour, and people are like, "Your drummer's so amazing." There's we've really, really lucked out, man. Paul is incredible. We
Hey Dex, were you at the Alcobat's 30th anniversary show with GOGO13 played?
Playing both nights, bro. Yep.
Oh, I was there the first night.
Oh, you should have said hi.
I
Come
didn't
on.
know you were there.
Because of my hair. Is that why?
I didn't. I was
I was on stage.
Oh, he froze.
I only.
Uh,
I just
You
saw
froze for a
Rich.
second.
What's that?
Yeah.
You froze for a second. You almost just
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
so
Yeah, we were there though.
Yeah, and I'm sorry.
Were?
I tried this. I saw Brian though, Gilmore. I
Yeah,
haven't seen him
yeah.
for decades.
yeah. He wanted to say hi to you. He wanted us to say hi to you. So hi from
The
Brian.
thing is, they put Ben and I on like the far side of the stage, and the sound guy told us we're putting the really unattractive people as far off the stage as we can.
Right. They should have put me behind the drummer. At that
Oh,
time.
I'm sure. Come on.
At that
Our
time,
drummer is the most handsome guy in our band.
That
my
is true.
my girlfriend and I went to the show too, and we met Jose, and we were watching, and I said GOGO13 is just the great, fantastic band, and I
What?
thought you guys, because I don't know why that may have been one of the first times I've seen you guys. I don't remember after all these times, and then there was another band. Now I deal with another band that I do like better than your band. I'm sorry,
What?
that's the
What?
Goodwin Club.
Oh, that's all
Oh,
right.
the Goodwin Club. Yeah,
You can take
well
that, but-
deserved.
Yeah, that show that we talked about in Whittier at Chex was with Goodwin Club.
And the only reason why I'm telling you that is because I manage them now.
So
Right.
you-
Well, no, yeah, right.
Yeah, cool.
So
Of course you do.
that's the only reason. But I do love their music, but I love yours too. So I'm just being particular towards one.
Yes.
Oh no, hey, like no, that's okay. They're our sister band, right? Like
course.
we're family. I kind of think.
Yeah.
I mean, we go way back with so many of the members of them, and the Aquabats poached Goodwin Club pretty hard. We took Corey, Charles, Patrick, who else? Adam, like, yeah, from back in the day, and it was really interesting. Like when we first met them at that show, it was like, you look like you're our friends.
Yeah.
You look like us. Who are you people?
I think did they start the set?
Yeah, they
Half-
opened up that set. Yeah.
Well, half of their band was part of our band because our
Yeah,
horn
we had Jesse, but I don't even think Jesse was in Goodwin Club, was he? Yeah, Jesse played horns for
Sax.
us.
Yeah, he was playing sax, right?
That show because our horn section couldn't make the show, and it was pretty funny.
So like back then, did you guys mail him a cassette to learn the songs off of? Like you must have, right?
It's so weird. Like I can't even
Think about
how
that,
we
right?
do these things. How do we talk to people without cell phones?
Yeah.
You
We didn't email each other.
you have to plan ahead of time and make sure it
Yeah.
makes it in the mail, right? It's such a different.
I think it was Boyd. Boyd had our cassette and lent it to him. And he listened to our cassette of demo songs. It's so crazy.
So, speaking of real quick, Parker, so at Idiot Box, I was talking to Boyd at that 30-year, anniversary show. And, he came out on stage and played Idiot Box with us, right? Total gentleman. And afterwards, he was saying, there's more than one way to play that. When Travis was in the band, we didn't do the scale anymore because he was playing so fast. And I said, well, was I playing it right? He's like, I don't know. And I said, well, you're the one who taught me how to play it in the Aquabats. Who would have thought years later I'd be in GOGO13 still playing that song,
Right.
Yeah.
Did all three bands play it that night? I don't remember.
Well, we all played it together.
Yeah.
We all got together during our set and played it. And I don't know.
Okay.
And they're more than welcome to to have played it. I don't think the Aquabats played it again though, right? So, but if Goodwin Club did great. Yeah, hey, you guys still use my lettering that I did from that flyer for your logo.
Oh, the same one that's on. Oh yeah, I think
This
I
one?
know which one.
Yeah, it's a kind of
the same one is it the same one they used on the Join the Club, the new one that Wiretap put out?
Yeah. I mean, it's a little they've tweaked with it, but that's what it's from. Even their old CD is where it's from originally. So.
Yeah, that one. Okay, yeah, that's the one that we still use. But they have one that's just on the newer Join the Club that Wiretap put out. It's not really a logo; it just says like a font.
Oh,
of
okay.
the club.
Maybe I'm thinking about another one. But
Let me check because.
But yeah, it was from that flyer or one of the flyers when we played together. Because that's what I do. I make flyers.
I think it's just
Cool.
this one, right? This.
Yeah, that's my lettering.
Oh, okay, got it. All right. Yeah, that's the one. But the other one, yeah, that they still use the other one here.
I mean,
This logo.
Yeah, that's where
Yeah.
that's where it came from.
That's the other. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that was that flyer. It was the Aquabats, Goodwin Club, GOGO13, and our headliners were 6 Feet Deep for that show.
This is
and that
this is
show,
this is why you should never take pictures like that because it'll come back to you.
right.
I still haven't
Oh
told
my
Tommy
gosh.
that yet.
So yeah.
Okay, so I'm sorry. We asked Dex about other bands and stuff like that. What about you two gentlemen?
Do you want to talk about your
Yeah,
musical career?
well, yeah, short-lived. So growing up in Vegas, I played in a lot of garage bands. We played with so the founding members of like Attaboy Skip, Justin Baden, Abe, guy by the name of Jesse Moffett, Lauren Jolly, and then later Ronnie Vanucci. I don't know if you've heard of Ronnie Vanucci.
The drummer for the Killers, Ronnie Vanucci.
Oh yeah, that's Jesse talks
that
about
sounds
that.
familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He met his wife at a GOGO13 show.
yeah. In fact, yes, our last show at the
At the
great
tennis court.
tennis court.
Yeah, we played.
Ronnie met his wife at that show.
Oh.
But yeah, garage bands, then coming up to St. George.
Post
Yeah.
mission,
Oh, yeah.
you had the Provo 13.
I really want to tell a story though about pre-mission.
Oh, okay, okay, all right.
With Real Big Fish.
Oh yeah, okay.
So after was it Real Big Fish and Meal Ticket,
Uh-huh.
right? So they had nowhere to stay because everybody's making big money back then, right?
Yeah,
And so
huge money.
they're like, hey, we need a place to crash. Hey, come out to my parents' house. We'll all crash there. So, I mean, there were people. We had like 20 people there, right?
Uh-huh.
Sleeping in
Wow.
cars, sleeping in the. I just remember Jenny coming. Jenny, is that her name? Yeah, the meal.
Janai.
Janai, thank you. Yeah, Janai. She came into our. Hey, thank you.
Whoa, that's real bad.
So anyway, she came into our room and she just I don't know, she really liked our cow kitchen. My mom had a cow kitchen. She's like, oh, this is the greatest because they had the checkerboard, floor in there and everything. So the cool thing about that was the next morning everybody kind of woke up. We had my parents made waffles for everybody, and my mom comes walking in. She's like, hey, Dustin, you got your mission call here. And back then it was not a big deal to open up your mission call. Today they make it a big deal. And,
Yeah, so yeah, for members of the Church of
Yeah.
Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you apply to go and serve a mission, and you could be anywhere in the world for 2 years, any language. And so it's kind of a rite of passage
Yeah.
to open up that column for
Yeah.
your family, and they go, "Whoa, you're going to
Yeah, and
Spain!"
you had submitted yours by then as well.
Yeah,
'cause think
I
you
was
had, like, 2
waiting for
weeks.
mine at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, so she comes out and she's like, hey, I got your mission call. Do you want to open it? So like I had Meal Ticket and Real Big Fish all sitting there around, and I open up my meal ticket or my meal ticket, open up my mission call, and and there it was, Chicago, Illinois. Oh, great.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh,
Piano.
Chicago, great," and then they're like, "All right, we're out of here."
We're outta here.
Because it seems so anticlimactic,
Yeah.
right? Because it was like, "Oh, where are you gonna go? You're gonna go to Russia?"
Yeah, something crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had just told them, oh yeah, you can go to Africa, you can go to Russia,
Yeah.
you can go all these crazy places. Chicago.
They're like, "Good luck." One thing I think it was funny about that show is I remember that night we all ate at Denny's, and it was like the drummer for Meal Ticket, I think, was like, "Yeah, you guys are pretty good. You just need some more practice." And then we were like, "That's our last show. We're done playing." And we didn't go anywhere from there.
Is that the one that the skinhead dudes were like moshing around the pit there and they were giving us flack?
Well, no, that's funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a big issue. Like Nazi skinheads was a
Like
real
real one,
thing.
yeah.
That was a real thing. Even more so than in California, out
Oh,
here,
really?
out in Utah. Yeah, I mean,
Back then.
yeah, and
Oh.
you don't see that anymore. But you'd see guys with swastikas and stuff, and just
Wow.
gangs of skins, and they would come to our shows, and it was gnarly. It was like they would play. I remember we covered Camper Van Beethoven's "Take the Skinheads
Yeah.
Bowling," and
Yeah.
and I just remember like, oh, like they're gonna beat us up because we had we were always flying that the anti-racist stuff. Obviously, that's what Sky is, and it wasn't that show, but there was a couple of shows where we had the skinhead guys would come and rile things up. But what was funny was at that show, those guys were our bouncers.
Yeah.
So we were singing anti-racist stuff, like, just, and they were yeah, they were
Take us both ways.
they were keeping us in check. They were working for us at the time. So
Something
That's
like out of
funny.
an SLC Punk.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, SLC punk or yeah, but even right now we're in Idaho right now, and at the time Idaho had some real like white power camp,
That was
like
way up north.
way north, not where we're at, but
Yeah.
that was that was a scary thing. That was
Coeur
a really,
d'Alene.
I don't think it's really it's kind of underground now, that type of racism, but it used to be really in your face.
Well, it's
Oh.
a little more common and out there now.
Yeah, well,
the-
but I mean, but it isn't like, but it's disguised, now, like it used to be like
Yeah, out there. Yeah.
they used to say white power to your face, and
Mhm.
I don't want to talk about it now, but you know what I mean? Like it's a little different than how it used to be, which I think is an improvement.
It is.
Yeah, it is an improvement.
Tell me it's better.
It is. Yeah.
So
I think we've got
Yeah, I
Jose.
did. Yeah, I had a question about challenges that you faced early on with GOGO13, but you did say you had challenges with getting a horn section. Did you have any other challenges?
Oh,
so many.
well, teaching the guys ska.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that was like I said, Provo and Salt Lake, they had ska dialed in. That was a thriving scene. And I was from the OC scene, with Jeffrey. We loved going down to LA to those shows, those Blackpool shows, which you were talking about. But St. George had no ska scene.
They were grunge.
They didn't. It was they were grunge and like
yeah.
hippie covers
Hippie.
and stuff.
That's right.
And they didn't get it. And I just remember, man. And by that time, we were steeped into it. So we're playing with our band, okay, you got to get this. Here's the specials. And our guitar player's like, I just don't get it. What? It's like they're the Cure, but they're happy. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. And then we were like, okay, well, yeah, here's Desmond Decker and Prince Buster, and this stuff's going over his head. And it wasn't until we dropped Operation Ivy. They're like, oh, now we get it. Yeah. And I think every band can probably, every third wave ska band can be like, once it was Operation Ivy, then we got it, right?
Yep.
So yeah, that was a little hard.
Okay.
That was a challenge. We recently did a reunion show in St. George. We did the 30th reunion in December with the Aquabats. That was kind of like it was almost like our goodbye show. And then we got invited to play a reunion show in St. George. So we had all of these people that we hadn't seen from that scene that we started. People that had gotten into ska by hearing us on the radio, on a local radio station, and had come out to the show and had seen us from 30 years ago. Like, it blows my mind. But I thought it was so funny that one of the bands, like, we were getting all of these, like, all of this hype, and I had my daughters with me, and they're like, "Whoa, you're cool now." And now, and it was really funny. I went upstairs and I got changed into my suit. You guys saw me play. I was wearing at the 30th show. I kind of had a 3-piece suit kind of thing happening. And I put that on and I came back down. And the opening band, they saluted me, and I was like, "All right, I'm cool."
Oh, yeah.
And they're all, "Okay, everybody." And then after their song, they're all, "Stop the show. That guy right there, him in the back. Everybody turn around." So everybody turned around and looked at me. And they're like, "That guy is the man who brought ska to St. George." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm awesome." There's all, "Clay Bloxam, that's you. You are awesome, Clay Bloxam." And I couldn't hear what they were talking about. And Dustin was like, "Clay, where's Clay?" And Clay was a scenester that he actually probably should have been the singer for GOGO13, because he really was. He was somebody we really loved.
He was one of the starting guys.
But it was the funniest thing. The guys afterwards, they're like, "How are you, man?" And I'm like, "Dude, I've been hanging out with you guys all day. Oh, you're not Clay. You're Parker. Because I wasn't wearing a hat or something. I don't know what it was, but anyways. So like it was fun to take credit for the ska scene and then not at the same time.
Yeah. There's like a Utah festival going on, and I think there's a Stretch Armstrong reunion.
Yeah, the Fork Fest. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what it is, the Fork Fest.
Yeah, the Aquabats are playing that, and yeah, I'm really excited about Stretch coming back. And
yeah, that'll be awesome to see that, because it's been a long time. If I have seen them, I don't remember.
Yeah,
But
they
that was
played
a long
10
time
years
ago.
ago, and Stretch with the boy,
dude,
just drew a blank. The other band,
Swim.
Swim Herschel Swim. Yeah,
Swim Herschel Swim. Yeah, dude, my first official ska band was a Utah, or ska show was a Utah ska show, and it was one of those things that blew my mind. And I'll talk about it because hey, this is what we're doing, talking about it. So this is, and it goes to like the idea of how things were back then when you had to find bands. And I remember going to like record stores and going, do you know this song? It goes, oh, that'll do nicely, son. Da, 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 da. Stick it. And they could never tell me who that band was. Or it was like that kind of a thing. And you were listening to mixtapes that other people had, and or I had the whole Dance Craze soundtrack that I'd been listening to for a long time, but I didn't know all of the bands on the track listing because it was a bootleg cassette tape, right? That I had somebody taped off for me. So I had all of the ska I was listening to, and I've been a fan of Madness when I was a little kid, and same thing with English Beat, and Oingo Boingo was my first concert. So I was already
Nice.
I was already there. That was my first show was '89 at the Greek, where they performed the live album, right?
Yep.
They recorded the live album from that show. But I was really excited to go see this, to go to a ska show in Utah. We went up for this thing called General Conference, that my grandpa lived in Provo, and people were like, "Oh, you want to go see this band, Bad Manners?" And, and like I never heard of them, but like yeah, went and saw the show, and it's funny because I only read one article about that show, and people were bummed because there weren't many people there. So it was this kind of feeling like, oh, here's this band. I don't know, they're a ska band, and it was the Insatiable, who I've come to appreciate. We played with them a bunch of times, and Stretch Armstrong, who killed it, and Bad Manners, who I didn't know. But of course I knew them.
Right.
They were who I'd been searching for years, and I'd been listening to them for years. Well, not years. I just, for a teenager, it's years, right?
Years.
So
whole
let's
life.
go into it. But like that show blew my mind. Like seeing, okay, this is a ska show, and nobody was there, and like seeing Bad Manners killing it, like in their prime.
Mm-hmm.
It was that changed my life.
That was your first ska show?
That was my first like official ska show.
Was that in Provo as well?
And that was in Provo, yeah. And
it's funny. That was my first ska show as well. Not
Not
that,
that
one.
you were at the Vegas one?
No,
Or-
we drove up from Vegas and we saw Swim Herschel Swim. We saw Skink and Pickle,
dude,
Boss
awesome.
Tones,
Wow.
Stretch Armstrong, and that was like 92.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that probably would have been it. 92, 93.
That was amazing.
And then how
Wait, I wanna-
yeah.
Parker, I gotta hop in there as long as we're saying first ska show. By the way, I'm gonna jump after this, but Parker, I think you were at the first ska show I was at. I think it was my junior year. Knuckle Brothers, when they recorded that live thing at that studio.
Yeah, I was there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
a junior, and I had like same as you, Specials Madness as a kid, but I never really knew the term ska, I guess. And
Exactly. It wasn't only
Chad Collier was like, "Hey, let's go to the show tonight," just randomly. And you were there. I'm like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And then my mind was just blown. Like, what this
Yeah.
is what I want to do. This is I don't remember who opened, but Knuckle Brothers just blew me away. It was so fun. So fun.
Dude,
And guess
that
what?
show
And guess
was
what?
amazing.
Even
Yeah.
still now, we're driving to St. George and playing like we're a bunch of kids, and it's still fun. You know,
It is.
Dig
right?
up
Right,
slugs?
Dustin? It's ridiculous.
yeah.
We're supposed to be adults here, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Right. And that was my thing. Like after I'd seen that show, my parents moved to Utah, and I hung back. I moved out when I was 17, and lived with my brother, and um, all I did was go to shows. That was my life, was going to ska shows. And how many shows we went together at like Club 8.5, that we saw so many bands
Oh
play,
yeah,
you know.
8.5. Yeah.
Skanky Pickle, Real Big Fish, a million times. Joker Pickle's Reaction,
Yeah.
One Eye Open, Mob Town,
Janitors.
Ocean 11, Janitors Against Apartheid. So many different bands. Like,
Voodoo Glow Skulls. Yeah, 8.5.
Yeah.
Just like that was just down the street from my house. So I just want to say, I just mentioned one thing before I go, just real quick, is Parker and Dustin are dropping. Hey, we knew this guy, and we knew this guy, and we knew that guy. There's this really deep undercurrent of, I mean, a lot of us are Mormon dudes, and there's this undercurrent of these bands like Swim Herschel Swim and Stretch Armstrong. Like Scott, the singer from Stretch Armstrong, we were in the same congregation when we were kids, and our families have been friends just like forever. So there's like these really deep-seated things. Like I've known Parker forever. We met through the church. I knew all the Aquabats. So there's that piece of history, as long as we're talking about history, that's, I think, really important to all these Mormon ska bands ultimately, right? That's how we all know each other. That's how they knew to call me for GOGO13. Like, oh, we've known this guy forever.
You know what's funny is that, back on the Mormon thing, there was an article about ska music, and it had Tommy on it, with the Goodwin Club, and it was like, hey, are you guys Mormons? Because they're seeing these young kids wearing suits, right? And they're like, no, we're in the ska. And somebody from my church gave that to me, going, oh, you're a ska fan, right? But she only knew about that because the Mormon thing. But like, man, I kept that article forever, because it was like, oh man, Tommy was so cute too back in the day. Like, oh my gosh.
She wrote me on the mission. That was cool.
Oh man, what a gal.
She wrote a lot.
All right, guys.
Hey, so
gotta split.
Dex, Dex, I just sent you a message on Facebook. I don't know if you got it. I just want to make sure that we can connect. I sent you my phone number.
Oh, cool. Here, also, I'm going to drop mine in the chat here right now as well.
Okay, cool.
And it's all positive. Thanks for your time, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, take care, man.
Thank
Talk
you.
soon.
Good night. Bye.
Thanks, Dex. I'm so glad he came.
I know. I'm glad. That was such a surprise. I was so happy to see that.
Because he's been there all through it, and I'd want him to play with us forever, and it took like 20 years.
Oh yeah, God, I love that band. I booked them. God, I don't know how many times I booked them. Like 4 or 5. I don't remember over that time period, but they were just awesome. I loved all the bands he's been in.
Yeah, seriously.
So I don't know whose question it is.
I think it's my question now. Yeah. So GOGO13 has always had a strong comedic and tragic presence on stage with cat gun fights, and how did that become part of your identity?
Because we got nothing else, man. That's all we got is dork power. And I think a person could say the same thing with the Aquabats, but they got good outfits, they had a budget, right? But yeah, no, we're just goobers. And Dustin was a big part of that. He had these fake teeth that he would wear sometimes. And you'd see old pictures of him when he's like really tweaked, and I would pull out cap guns and shoot him, and he had blood capsules in his mouth, and he would spit out onto the crowd, and you did backflips. We had all these we were just having fun.
We would spray like paint in the not paint, but that silly putty stuff, and I brought this here, that green stuff. Do you remember this hat? So he
used to wear that hat every
show.
show.
This is the show. And it still has the green. I don't know if you can see that.
It's got green.
Oh yeah.
Kind of gross. That was from, we used to spray paint our heads and do all kinds of crazy stuff.
But like that, I think that was the thing, was like, and why there was a million ska bands at that time, because it was so fun in the crowd, but you're like, oh man, it's got to be even more fun being on stage,
throwing candy to the kids and get them excited at the skate park.
And talent wasn't really necessary, right? If you had the beat, there you go. and so yeah, we were just having fun, and we threw candy. Sometimes
Uh-huh.
we threw out like all sorts of stuff with styrofoam
Oh, yeah,
13 balls and all.
Mhm.
We
That's
were always
right.
throwing junk and doing backflips.
That's so cool,
I mean,
guys.
when we were in Warped Tour, we were throwing out ice cream bars. We had a sponsorship by this ice cream company, and we did that for a while.
So tell them about the 13 ball, why that was kind of become a little mascot of sorts.
Well, everywhere we practiced was in somebody's basement that had a pool table.
My place and the drummers.
Yeah, our drummer's place and his place, and it was like, oh, 13 ball, this is us, this is our logo, it's a 13. And so we leaned into that. Orange is always kind of a running theme because
Okay.
the color.
Yeah,
of
you can see it right
As long as you don't throw that
ball.
ball in the audience, then you're good.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Styrofoam.
We made these styrofoam balls that we had orange tape, and we had like 13 stickers on
that's
them.
it.
Yeah, and we used to throw them out in the
Oh
audience.
yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Is
So that's always been kind of part of our imagery, because we played a lot of pool too.
Yeah.
Cool.
So now for you two guys, can you guys each describe your personal musical influences and who are your current favorite ska bands?
Okay, you want to go first on that one?
Boy, I think I've always loved traditional ska as well, but I think I brought a little bit of the more punk aspect to it.
Yeah.
I would say
I think so.
a little bit of Operation Ivy. I loved Operation Ivy growing up. I love those guys. Currently, probably who's that? Take Back the Power. What's your plan?
Oh, Interrupters.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Interrupters. Yeah.
They're great.
Of course. Interrupters, boy, all kinds of stuff.
They're one of the bands
They're
that won't
still doing
return
it.
my calls for an interview.
They won't.
They won't.
No, they won't. They're too big.
Oh, they are. Yeah, they are big. They're busy people,
Yeah.
man. We were able to get them on Yo Gabba Gabba Land. I guess it was not last year, the year before, and
Yeah.
somebody else had dropped out, and they were able to fill in, and we were able to fly them into Utah, and
Nice.
it was awesome. They're just amazing. They're so great. God bless the Interrupters. They're just love. They're a family, and they're all
Especially
hugs,
with what happened
all
with
hugs
Amy
and
and
smiles
and how she came into the band.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a sad story. What happened with her career before that?
Oh, I don't even know that story, but
Yeah, apparently. So I had read that she had her own career. She was a really good singer, and then something happened where she had I guess, an altercation. I guess I'm not sure. Might be wrong, but something with her vocal cords. Something happened to her vocal cords, and she couldn't sing the same style. And then that's how she met Jesse and the rest of the guys in the band, and then that's how they formed. I could be wrong. So
Yeah.
that's just my what is it? Asterisk went in there.
Well,
She was
what
like on
happened?
American Idol or something, wasn't she? One of those.
It was something. It was one of those things, and she had a record deal, I believe. And then I guess it couldn't be fulfilled because of what happened. And then somehow then she met the Interrupters, and it was just match made in heaven with her, her voice like how it is now. It's a little, grungier, like
It's a little,
Tim Armstrong's.
which totally fits for for the Rancid. It fits in the Rancid category.
Exactly. It
totally,
totally does.
totally perfect fit, because
Yeah, exactly.
it's like how can you take like Tim Armstrong's voice and make it better?
Yeah, exactly.
Make it a hot chick.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So, yeah, give it to a hot chick, because there's some similar flavor. Anyways, I hate to diminish her as by calling her a hot chick. That's a compliment, because I think they're just great. And
I agree.
and they opened up for us when we did it wasn't for us. They opened up the set when we played with the Vandals Christmas party at the House Blues. Yeah, House of Blues. And they were so sweet being the openers, and now like we'd be lucky to open for them because they're so huge now, but they're just great. And man, I'll tell you, we had a lot of guests on Yo Gabba Gabba, but when they played on Yo Gabba Gabba Land, streaming now on Apple TV Plus, they had all of the crew dancing. Everybody like backstage, everyone behind the camera was dancing to their music. So Yeah, they're awesome.
Nice.
Anyhow, what else? I totally cut you off.
Oh no, that's okay.
What
Yeah,
else do we have in that question?
I think it's just what was it? What was the question? Just kind of our initial ska influences, maybe.
Well,
Yes.
who are your musical influences? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and I remember watching Dance Craze for the first time. Like I think like everybody in the scene watching it for the first time on someone's pirated bootleg VHS tape.
Yes, tape off a tape off a tape, and the music like,
It's like, man, this is just the coolest thing, and
oh,
and
dude.
watching the specials and all those guys, and in
Yeah.
Vegas wasn't a huge ska scene back then, and so it was there weren't any kind of local ska bands that I knew of, and so we had to go up to Utah to kind of up to Provo, which was like a 6 hour drive from there, and in fact, Orange County's closer to
Mm.
Vegas than
Mm.
Salt Lake, so.
Wasn't there another Utah ska band called My Man Friday?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're
They
from
were
there? Okay.
they were a little after our time. They're pretty
Oh,
good. Yeah,
yeah.
My one of my bands after the mission, we played with those guys. Yeah.
Got it. Got it.
yeah.
All right.
So your lyrics often mix obscurity with ska tradition. What's the writing process for your songs?
Well,
Where's it going? Oh,
What, a ukulele?
I'm driving in a car. I'm
Oh.
driving, and I've got
Okay.
and I'm steering with my knee. Steering with my knee. Stop. That was, and then I go to the band and they go, "Oh, hey guys, let's make that a song." And then and then yeah, sometimes. But no, I was really intrigued by the method of pulling from old traditional ska. Because I love Desmond Decker and the Maytals and Prince Buster, and I was with that idea of that, like, if I pull from that, because you had, I remember that Vic from the Slackers saying that LA ska, they just put ska under a microscope, right? And they're just trying to, like, they're like with Hetcat or whatever, they're or a lot of the traditional bands that they're just like, this is the formula. They're trying to find the formula. But I wanted to figure out the formula of, like, the two-tone guys, because I was a new wave fan, and I loved two-tone. So a lot of what I did, like, like with Idiot Box, for example, I had bought a Prince Buster single that it was the Maytals doing a song called Little Flea. Once there was a little flea, nobody knows. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we got to use that hook, because
Yeah.
that was my songwriting thing. I wanted to pull from the 60s, but I didn't want to sound like the 60s. I wanted to sound like a band that gets their inspiration from old ska. And so that was like what happened with Idiot Box. But what was so funny is I did not think that was an original title of a song, because you already had Trapped in a Box by No Doubt.
no
I didn't
doubt.
think I didn't think that was an original, theme of, and I felt like I was biting off of, by Toots and the Maytals by playing Nobody Knows, and I always wanted to change it to, like, the TV shows or something like that, but we never did. And it was one of those things. But my thought back then was, who's going to listen to us? Nobody listens to a band from St. George, Utah. You know what I mean? We're a grudge band. That's not going to happen. And and what's so funny is, like, the Aquabats put that song on 3 of their albums. They have it on a live album. They have it on Return and The Fury. And then Goodwin Club covered it. And, like, we just put it out on a live album, just because we have to tell people, oh yeah, we did write that song. But
I did not know the origins like that, and you guys wrote it. Yeah.
yeah, so I
Was
don't
it
know.
on the Horchata Records?
Yeah, we put on that Horchata Records compilation called Rice Capades, but which is what brought us together. But that's not even available now, so because it's a compilation
On Discogs, it is.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Yeah.
Oh, no.
Well, hey,
No, I've tried to get it. That's one I don't have. But let's talk about your releases. You've got this one, the I Like It,
Yep.
with Bunch of great songs. And let me tell you that Exploded song, I can't get that shit out of my head.
Wow.
I keep saying it exploded.
Exploded. Yeah.
Exploded. You guys also recorded a 7-inch EP, Toy Guns and Pixie Sticks.
Oh yeah, you want me to get that for you?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, because I don't think it ever released, right?
Toy Guns and Pixie Sticks. I don't have that. Oh
I
yeah,
have a
oh yeah.
photo of it somewhere.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah,
never.
It's
Apparently
in my
that was
garage.
released,
It's a
right?
reel. It's a reel.
Oh, okay, got it. And then you guys later released Rice Capades. Like we
Yeah, though that only came. We had 2 songs that only survived out of that reel to reel. It was a 6-song EP. We had Espionage and Idiot Box. They're on a Utah ska comp called, I don't remember what it's called. And then we put it out through the Aquabats Rice Capades through the Horchata Records thing. And we also put out this single, which was the Exploded single and Serial with the
got it. Yeah, that was at the
final.
first table. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's still available?
So and that what was so cool about that was when it came out, we lost almost all of them. We thought they were stolen, and it turned out Johnny Bueller had them in storage for years. They were unavailable, and people were paying big money for this because most of it was stolen. We only had printed 300 copies.
Yeah.
And Johnny had to move his office and totally uncovered a whole ton of them. So yeah, at that show in December.
And those are all the original pressings then?
These were, the original pressings.
Was that the same with this, or this has been repressed?
No, we only pressed that once. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And because you guys had a lot of these there.
Yeah, but they were.
It was the same thing?
We thought we lost them.
Yeah.
Johnny showed, it was like a miracle. I was like printing buttons at the show, and I had designed these ties, these neckties that we sold, and we sold out of those quickly. But I was just scrounging for merch, and I had some leftover, extra small tees or extra, 1 XXL, t-shirt. And Johnny rolls in with all of this merch. It was like the loaves and the fishes of all this. I was like, what? Come from? It was a miracle. But
so Parker, you were interviewed in some ska festival in Utah that you're featured on a DVD, right? Something like that.
Yeah, there's a ska. It was a Utah ska documentary called. I think it was it called?
Pick It Up or something?
It was the Upbeat. I think it was the Upbeat. Yeah, there was a documentary called Pick It Up, which is really funny. That a lot of the photos, almost the majority of the photos in that documentary, he took. He's got rad photos of even for what you guys are doing, for the Steady Beat stuff. He's got old shows from those Blackpool pictures from the old Blackpool shows.
Yeah.
But I was
the director Kat is always looking for new flyers, stuff that we haven't seen before.
I still have a bunch of those old flyers too.
If you guys want to ever send anything to me, I can send them to her.
But yeah, I'd love to go on the show. So we did. There was a documentary, and it was kind of a vehicle for that band, the Upbeat, Andy Fackrell's band. But
that's right.
But yeah, that was
not the Upbeat from Carpinteria, right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, they changed their name to. He's a few bands. Andy Fackrell, he's got a couple bands. The Make Ways.
Make Ways. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And what was the other band? Not the Gooblers. Anyways, but yeah, if you see that,
Gooblers, yeah.
That wasn't it wasn't his band.
Yeah, that's right.
But he's really talented. He's got that he's got that he could do the one man ska band kind of a thing, like a Chris Murray kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Or Robert Stokes.
Robert Stokes.
He could just be the guy playing guitar and doing it all himself. But he's great. So yeah, we did. There was it was funny. It didn't have any GOGO13 music, but it had most of our photos. It was us and Tyler and our scene and stuff.
Some of these.
Yeah, some of these old black and white photos.
Yeah.
But
nice.
There's Tyler.
Yeah.
Cool.
Days, but yeah.
So
Anyway.
GOGO13 So GOGO13 had a lot of lineup changes over the years. How do you guys keep the energy and style consistent?
Oh yeah. Okay. That is a good question. I don't know. Um, we have really been blessed with some amazing musicians.
Hmm.
And what has also worked is having old friends like Brian Gilmore, who should be here in this meeting too. Our bass player was also in the Schmedleys and My Superhero and a few other bands. But you know, he toured with us. He was in we were on the Aquabats. We were in a tour bus and he was in a van, and we went alongside all on Warped Tour for many years, and it's so great that we have all these good stories. So, and having Ben Bergeson play with us, who was in the Aquabats as well, and so I think that's one thing that helps is that even though we have a lineup change, our lineup is like old friends. I
Yeah.
guess our replacements. Are
That's the
yeah.
feeling. I mean, all these guys are just such good people that we
Mhm.
play with. Like the current iteration of GOGO13, just super nice. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, and the youngest in our band, Erin, who's a saxophone player, and she's legendary surfer. She's a famous longboarder.
Oh,
She's
wow.
huge.
Oh.
Um, and but you know, we've had her in our band since she was in high school. So other than that, we've
But
all kind of known each other pretty much.
but so she lives in Huntington Beach or
She lives in Long
near
Beach.
the coast, hopefully, if
Yeah,
she's a
yeah,
surfer.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So you touched base on Warp Tour. You guys played 2010 and 2012.
probably
Now, did you
that sounds right.
during and this was when the Warp Tour was, hitting different cities around the United States, right?
Mhm. Yeah, we didn't. I did Warped Tour with the Aquabats, the full, the full way back a couple times. But with GOGO13, we only went up and down the coast of California,
Got it.
and that was so much fun.
Now, did you guys when you guys toured anything like that? Did you guys have any crazy tour stories to speak of?
Oh man, I don't know. Yeah, we had tons of crazy fun. You know, it was fun throwing out. I just remember throwing out ice cream. I remember people loved us because we gave them free ice cream. But it
Anything
was,
like a van breaking down or, crazy people, in a certain city that look at you the wrong way, things like
oh
that.
man, we had
I
tons
have
of stories of that.
a
Yeah,
crazy story from the early days. So one of our problems was finding places to play down in southern Utah.
Mm.
And we ended up playing, I think it was Cedar City,
yeah, that bar in Cedar
playing with the
City.
band called Mud. And when you're starting a band, you're doing everything, right? You're setting up your equipment, and we're sitting around, and Parker's
yeah.
being Parker, and getting in,
What does that mean? What am I, a clown to you?
get in the crowd with just like 15 people in a bar. Remember, we're like all 18 years old.
Yeah, we're all
and some of
kids.
the other kids were like 16,
Yeah,
17.
not even old enough to be in a bar.
Yeah.
We were playing the.
In Utah. And anyways, I just remember we were kind of joking around, and I was saying something on to the crowd. I said, "Hey, if anybody can guess my name, because Blad is not exactly a well-known name." And I said, "If anybody can guess my name, I'll give them a high five." And the bartender says, "I bet you it's not my last name." And I said, "What's your name?" "My name's Peggy Blad." Do you remember this?
That's
And
great.
it's my same last name, and there's no other Blad. I mean, if there's Blads in the West Coast, I'm related to them. I had no idea who this lady was. I mean, the chances of something like that happening. So I run off stage and I go check it out, and sure enough, she shows me this ID of Peggy Blad. I just thought that was just nuts.
That
Wow.
is nuts. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, gosh, this is one of those questions that like I'll be like, oh, I get the perfect story like later. Oh, we set ourselves up,
Uh,
and but yeah, lot of crazy times. But I keep thinking of tour stories, and I think of Aquabat tour stories, and that
yeah.
you don't want to.
Yeah.
They're crazy too.
Yeah. Now, can I talk about the song "Exploded" again? Like the lyrics, like why is everything exploding? Like where did that all come from? It's so cool.
Well, it's just, do you have moments in your life where it just seems like everything's falling apart? Like it
Yeah.
was just one of those times in my life where everything was just falling apart, and I really did I really did have a scooter. Somebody gifted me a scooter that blew up while I was
Oh, damn.
using it. And
Oh,
his
yeah.
name was Pete Eagle, the brother of the artist Shag Eagle. I worked for Shag for a little while, and I only had one car, and with my wife, and he's like, "Oh, you can use my scooter, and you can have it." And I was like, "Yeah!" And first time biking, scootering to work, it blew up on me. But it seemed like
Wow.
everything, like my toilet bowl had cracked, and my microwave, something happened with that. It just seemed like this was like a perfect storm. I got to sing a song about.
It's so fun and wacky. It's great, man. It's
Yeah.
great.
And
Yeah.
that kind of like that kind of pseudo Mexican thing in Southern California where
Yeah.
there's a lot of white people that think they're, know what they're
That's
talking
so funny.
about.
That's like the whole Los Doyers.
The New
Right.
Year's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Or like that movie, where it goes,
Born in the East LA.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yes,
that's
yes,
it.
Born in East LA, exactly. So,
What did they say? They said in that movie they said oh
Simon Limon. Or which one?
oh I'm not sure I'm trying to remember now. God, it was about oh when he walks like you got to walk somewhere. He walks some way. You got to walk like this, man. Remember she showed him how to walk. But
walk
I'm
like
trying to
this,
remember.
man. Yeah. Dude, yeah, that was a classic.
Now
So
uh
yeah,
your
that's like the,
final show of the first incarnation of GOGO 13
yeah.
was with some of the same bands that you originally played with your first time playing, Meal Ticket and Real Big Fish. Is that right?
Yeah, well, we said that was our last show, and then we ended up playing more shows.
Then it was the tennis court,
And
right?
then it was the tennis court.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
But yeah, we
Yeah.
um
We
uh,
had our first interview on here was basically a Meal Ticket reunion.
oh
Oh,
really?
cool.
That was our first one, and that went, God, how long did that go? It was like a couple hours.
Yeah.
And they were just all talking amongst each other, and we were just sitting here just listening. But it's
Oh
good
yeah.
times because poor Jose, he wasn't there at the time. I was there for most of that.
Yeah.
With
But
the
I
band.
love their album, Louise Marie. I don't know. You don't think it's the best, but yeah.
You
That's what
think Lisa Marie is their best album?
that's what I heard. At first.
That's got like 3 songs.
What
Yeah, I
about
know, but
their
No.
album? What
that's yes.
what
That's
about
better. Yes, but
Misconceptions?
Misconceptions is decent.
Do you like the album cover artwork? I thought it was pretty good.
Oh yeah, that was you.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
your early stuff.
It was, yeah. That was, I did that with colored pencils. I did that album cover with
Oh yeah,
colored.
I have it.
Do you? Okay,
I have everything.
that's amazing.
Man.
I have
Um,
I have everything by most bands. So I have the original.
okay, yeah. Oh
Oh, yeah.
wow. Can you? There you go. Look at that. Yeah, that was Chris Siglin, who I went to high school with. Yeah, he said, look at. Okay, so look what's going on in this cover here. He said the only suggestion he said was put an evil clown in there. So I put an evil clown right there in the background. This is Circus, but
oh
look,
yes.
this is Drink Horchata right there, which
Oh
was
yes.
Yeah.
which was our record label or whatever. Became the Aquats label, but Attaboy Skip was on that label. And if you look inside the newspaper,
Oh,
the newspaper that the guy's reading, some of the fine print mentions GOGO 13. I don't like. Nobody knows
oh,
that.
it's too blurry on this one. Let me see.
It says something
This
like
was this was the repress.
Right, okay, yeah, they probably don't have the original art for that, but I think it said somewhere in the newspaper like GOGO 13 is also a fine band too. You should check them out.
Yeah,
That's cool.
but this is their best album.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, no,
by
it
far.
is. It is a good album.
Yeah,
But I got introduced with Lisa Marie. Yeah.
but they
This
should have
is
me
the
do that
best
cover
album.
too. Just saying.
So yeah, and so yeah, it was great to have them on. And of course we had both. We had both Bill and Ricky on there.
I love those guys. They were just hearts of gold, and we had such great time playing with them. And
Mhm.
I think, I think I haven't seen him in a long time. It's been a long time. I was gonna see who played trombone.
Richard.
Rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Rich,
saw.
Rich, Rich trombone. Oh my God. Both Ricky and different Ricky and Bill both did guitar.
Mhm.
Dennis was on drums. Janai sang.
She was just a
Um,
sweetheart. She's
uh,
just.
um, Dave played bass. And the Jim played sax. And yeah, that's it, I think.
Yeah, I just remember the last time I saw Richard, I think he was applying for a job at Golden Voice in LA when that was our record label
Yeah.
for the Aquabats. I remember seeing him in there and hoping he was going to be part of our team. But
Yeah, it's funny because when back in the day when went to go visit Dave at Epitaph because he was their attorney,
mhm.
I saw what's the other guy's name? He was in a band called Bank Shot. And he worked at Epitaph too, interning or something. But I remember then when I got to go there and was crazy because um, Tim Armstrong was there. It was before the Wolves album, that Out Come the Wolves came out,
Yeah.
and he showed me artwork on it and asked me what I thought about it, and I said, "Holy shit, this guy." Because I've always looked up to him. Op Ivy, I love. I got a tattoo of Op Ivy. I got a tattoo of
Sure.
Rancid.
Yeah.
Those were my bands. And the first time I ever met Tim was outside of the Whiskey when they were playing on the Let's Go tour. I think it was, yeah, this is the Let's Go tour. And I was outside early and he was outside smoking or doing whatever. And he asked me if I could, he's like, "Hey, you got a ticket for the show?" I said, "Oh yeah, I already got one." He's all, "Because I hook you up if you want to."
Oh, that's
For a
awesome.
cool ass guy to do that. And then, I'm more in the scene and more prevalent in the scene. And then he asks me about the artwork and I get to hang out with the dudes at Epitaph and all that stuff. That was really cool, to do that. But yeah, Dave was an attorney for a while there. Then Dave was Billie Eilish's attorney
Oh, wow.
for the last few years. And then he just stopped because I don't know if you guys remember Danny. He was one of the trombone players from the Hippos.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Danny Ruckeson, he's one of Billie Eilish's managers now. So she has two
That's
managers.
so great.
Whoa.
So I see Danny once a year when I go because he gets me tickets to go see her at the Forum every year. So it's great. So I get to catch up with him and I see Rich because I deal with
Because
all the
Goodwin
time.
Club, right?
Yeah. So I
Man,
see
we
them
had
all the
some
time, and
great
I talk to
memories.
all those guys from the Hippo still.
Because
It's pretty cool.
we toured with them for a long time, the Aquabats with the Hippos and
Yeah,
that-
there was when
yeah.
there was one time when the Aquabats couldn't play, and Rich Egan, the Face to Face's manager at the time, hit me up to replace them, and so we got to go to Arizona, Texas, and Florida to play with MXPX and Face to Face every night.
Oh, wow.
So that was like a week, just a little mini week tour, taking their slot. But that was because I love face to face, and to see those guys and hang out with them every night was just flipping amazing. But then having to deal with the Rich Egan later, when I had to let the Hippos go was a different story because he started managing them. Anyway, different story.
So can we talk about another song on that album? House
sure.
Ape. The House Ape. What's that about?
It was really funny. Like I remember pitching that song to our sax player. This is a song we're working on, and she's like, "Oh, like a monkey butler. Wouldn't it be cool to have a monkey butler?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's such a better name. We should have called it Monkey Butler." That was actually I was driving in the car with Christian, my brother, and I was trying to do kind of a monkey man.
Okay, yeah, I can hear it.
And it was Christian's idea was to do a song called House Ape. That was his idea to have but Christian and I, we were roommates and of course, we toured in the Aquabats, we're brothers, we grew up together. There's been a lot of overlap. I've had a lot of ideas that he's taken and made them Aquabat songs and vice versa. And I don't think I've ever said this in public, right? That, like, yeah, it was his idea. I'll give him credit for that idea of the song. I was just having
Okay.
this idea of
He's-
having
he's-
an ape that,
If he
like,
ever sees this, he's gonna go, finally, I got
he's like,
credit
I
for
knew it.
Yeah, finally.
No, well, the thing is though, he's my older brother, so he always says Parker's my brother. So anything that I do, he takes credit for because I'm his brother.
Oh,
So I'm sure he does. I don't think he loses any sleep getting credit for
Yeah.
for the stuff that I do. But yeah, no, I think that was his idea, and we were like coming up with all the different kind of things that disadvantages of having a gorilla as a maid kind of a thing, and
Yeah.
like staying up watching Xena all night. That doesn't really make any sense anymore because people don't watch Xena anymore. But yeah, that was an idea that he threw out that I ran with, and later the Aquabats did a song called wait, is it Mechanical Ape? Mechanical Ape.
Mechanical, yeah.
Yeah, they did Mechanical Ape. It was kind of like Christian like took that idea and like made it only cooler, which is
As only a big brother can, right?
right. And then we just get stupid with that song, and sometimes it just turns into a medley, and we kind of have a message to you, Rudy, and the tide is high, and sometimes we put in the Ramones Blitzkrieg Bop, and then anytime you have like that chord progression, like you could go on forever. So like Stir It Up, or sometimes I'll bust into X Darling by Chris Murray. X Darling, forget about calling. And then and we'll just keep playing, and the band's like, all right, stop already. Like, when can we stop this song? Sometimes, just like when Hepcat did Underneath, Rudy's All Around, Rudy's All Around. At the end, they go, underneath the mango tree.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of vibe because it's like the same, it's like the most basic ska chords. But yeah, I don't know. Does that answer your question?
yes, it does. That's cool, man. Yes.
Singing about a monkey, and-
Parker, you have the original song "Pick It Up" is featured on an animated short on Yo Gabba Gabba,
Yeah.
which had you're talking about Hepcat Alex on that one. It also won an Excellence in Humor Award in 2008 at
Right.
the ASIFA East Animation Festival. Tell us about your experience working on Yo Gabba Gabba with your brother Christian.
Well, that was when we were doing season 1 of Yo Gabba Gabba. I did all sorts of things. My original title was animation art director, but I ended up doing way more than that. I'm kind of in charge of the whole visual of Yo Gabba Gabba. So character design, set design, costume design. I overlord all of the different departments as far as visual is concerned. And then also I was able to have that opportunity of doing that, contributing that song. We were in a music meeting, and Christian was like, "Hey, let's do a Pick It Up song, like pick it up, pick up the trash kind of a thing."
Yeah.
And of course that's like, it's in the ska world, like we're so tired of that, right? Like the Slackers did a song like that. There's tons of people have already made fun of that trope, but but we haven't done it for preschool kids, right? So I was like, I'll do it. Give it to me. I've got a band, and we just started playing again, and like we were like really focusing some time on the band. So it was great. So yeah, we were able to do that. Originally it was going to be like a GOGO13 video. We collaborated with an animator called Willie Hartland. And he actually tried to do it in stop motion animation. And he didn't get what we were doing. He didn't get the ska thing. He did not get what we were doing. But we originally had our bass player sing it, and Christian was like, dude, he's okay, but like we could get somebody bigger. So the first person we went to sing "Pick It Up," I sing the chorus, but who plays the dad? Rude boy, rude girl, pick up your trash. We got Alex Desire, right? But the first person we went to was Prince Buster himself. We went to Prince Buster, and
damn.
we wanted to get him to do it. He didn't
Uh-huh.
call. And then the next person that we got was Neville Staple, who said, "Yeah, I want to do it. Count me in." But he was lazy. Like he just didn't call us back or something like that. And we had deadlines to meet. So it's like I went like best
Yeah.
good better best or whatever. So who's after Neville Staple was definitely Alex Desire.
You basically went from generation to generation.
Yes,
Dan.
I totally the ska generations right there.
Yeah.
We also went to Roy Ellis for the rights to Banana, which the Agrolites did. That's another
yeah,
story. But that was kind of funny too. Yeah, so Alex Desire, bless his heart, came in and he was just awesome. He did it under the table. Don't tell anybody. He did it as a favor for us, and like
I'll edit it out.
yeah, he and I'm so grateful for him to be able to do that. And I thought it was funny though that and so at first it was kind of an advertisement for GOGO13. It was going to be promoting our band, and then they had us change it, and people got and our animator that was doing it, he went off of key artwork that I designed. I did design the dad, the initial, all the main, everything that you see is basically the main characters is my design, and I wanted to have a white background and whatever. And he did animated it how he did. But it was funny, yeah. He won an award off of it, and I was like, "Oh, good for you! Way to go! Get an award for that!" It was like my song and my art, and whatever. But what was funny was after, like, out of all of the song projects, that one was like the most pushback we ever had. The most trouble. They didn't like the claymation that he originally did. His version of Neville Staple, which that's who it is. I'm basically doing Neville Staple from the Message to You, Rudy video.
Yeah.
But afterwards, yeah, Willie came back and said, "Dude, that was so good. You want to do a Pick It Up too? Like we'll do a second one," and like because we won an award off of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're good. We're good. So yeah, it was a real honor to do that. Especially it went pretty viral too. Like
Yeah, congratulations on that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, we had like a bazillion hits, and then YouTube took it down or something like that, and then we lost all the hits. But it went really good.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dustin.
like the-
kind of leaving you in the background over there.
That's okay. I love hearing these stories. He's definitely
Now,
more
this question
into-
goes out for both of you guys.
Okay.
What does ska?
All right.
What does ska mean to you personally?
Ska, it's like
fun. I mean, it's yeah, it's like
it's like the upbeat sound, man.
it's all about dancing, having fun, and being around people you love, and being around people that you enjoy being around, and man, happy.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess happy. And it's just really positive, and that's I don't know. I don't want to like dominate the conversation.
You're okay,
Yeah,
buddy.
Mark?
It's all right.
You're doing a good job.
It really was a culmination of just everything that I loved. I was prepped. Like I'd grown up listening. Like my favorite music out of new wave was the ska related or ska stuff. Like Haircut 100 or Men at Work or the kind of the reggae ska. Like that was kind of my favorite type of music. My favorite style was I never got over IRS Records, that look of the old, that two-tone look I always thought was cool. I thought the Blues Brothers was the coolest. I love that two-tone style, and when it all came together, like, wait, this is all they all go together. I love the mod thing.
Yeah.
when I saw the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's, which was late 50s, early 60s, that style, I just love that style. It's the coolest.
Yep.
And you've never seen anything, I guess, and also because we had gotten into was into punk and I love alternative. I still love all sorts of different music, but in high school, it was such a kill yourself. It was a road to suicide. You know what I mean? All of this downer stuff in high school, and I have friends that say, "Man, I wish I could." I blame grunge for taking the best years of my life being sad. You know what I mean? Because
Oh, I thought it was you were talking about the Smiths and the Cure and
well,
stuff like
no,
that.
that was it. That was the part of it too. I hung out with these goths that were super into the Smiths and the Cure, and one of those goth girls, Joni Ressinger, who she played saxophone for the Knuckle Brothers.
Okay.
She was super goth when I met her, and I would hang out with her and her friends, and they were like vampires, and they were always like depressed and gaunt, and like wearing velvet and Doc Martens and but like creepers. They're all like they were unhappy, and I was like, okay, well I like that music too. I love that music, but later I saw her, and I don't know what happened. She came to visit me at her house. She had a Madness sticker on the back of her car, and I was like, "Wait, you can like that? What?" And she like I saw her switching gears from being a really dark person to a really happy person, and I was like, "I'm in. That's a thing. You can do that,
that is
and
so cool.
seeing so many people gather together, like,
Yeah,
oh man,
we call those people shoegazers.
the shoegazers,
Yeah. There's always looking down.
Oh,
just-
I get it.
thought shoegaze. I thought that's where it came from.
Yeah.
But shoegaze is actually looking at your guitar pedals and you're stepping on them.
Yeah.
But I always thought it was like, if you look at like the guy from like Radiohead from their first album, not Tom York, but the other dude, he's like, I'm a creep, I'm a weirdo, And of course we love Radiohead, right? We have to, but like it's like, come on, you can't be that bummed. Like your life can't be that miserable. And that's really what Scott was like. That was my thing. My older brother and his friends, they were into punk and hard, and it was all about like going to shows and getting beat up, and
The mosh pit.
yeah, and I think that and when the Aquabats started, I took them to a show to see Hepcat open for the Scatolites, and that blew their mind. I'd been into ska for years, but they were all into punk. Christian, Boyd, Chad Larson, we all went, and they did not get it. They were like, "What is going on? There's all these skinheads here in flight jackets and boots, and they're like clapping and cheering to this Jamaican jazz band. Like, what is going on right now?" And I was like, I was loving it, and it's been that way my whole life now. Like my whole adult life, like we're having more fun on stage than the kids in the audience, and
Yeah. That's back when LA Weekly and a lot of those places used to call Hepcat either Hepcats or the Hepcat.
or the Hepcat.
And I have a huge book of all different flyers and stuff from back in the day.
How rad.
And like literally stuff like from on tour and stuff like that too.
Wow.
And there was one that you just reminded me about, that show with Hepcat and the Scatolites. That I think it was here. This one.
Yeah, that was it. What was that?
That was it?
Hepcats.
Oh, no,
Plural.
it wasn't that show. It had a
No.
Let's Go Bowling didn't play that show.
Oh, they did? Okay.
That's at the Whiskey.
Yeah, there was
Oh man,
another
I saw
one.
some great shows.
There's been so many. I have a lot, but I don't know if that was the one or there's. Oh, here it is. This one, maybe.
Yeah, that's probably it. That was probably it.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that's just it's like.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That was at Santa Cruz when I saw them.
Oh, okay. Anyways, it was in Hollywood. 92 maybe? I don't know. 93.
Had to be around there. God. Okay. So, Parker, do you still run the Aquabats fan club?
Um, I I don't really run it. I'm more of I guess
Liaison?
I'm more of an artist. They hire me to do stuff. I'll do their ad mats and their layouts, and I worked on a poster for them right now. It's because I'm a graphic designer trained by Ben Bergeson. I do their DVDs, their CDs, their record covers. Um, and I cut my teeth on the meal ticket was like my first record cover, but then GOGO13 and a million Aquabat products.
Yeah.
I love your artwork, bro. Really
Thank
do.
you. Thank
Yes. It pops.
But are you still uh, being the professor on their videos and live shows?
Yeah, from time to time. I for those of you who don't know the Aquabats or whatever, or my role with the Aquabats, yeah, I would come out in a professor costume and I would introduce the band, and then I would sing backup vocals and then run off stage and then get in an asbestos suit maybe and get set on fire and then run back
Yes.
off stage and then come back and sing as the professor and then run back off stage, and then I'd be a sand flea or a wrestler, and I would pick a fight with the band. And since the lead singer is my brother, he doesn't worry about actually hurting me and throwing me in the audience and getting me beat up. But and so yeah, I do a lot less of that now. The Aquabats they've got real guys that kind of are backstage at the monsters and stuff, and
Yeah.
so I'll come from time to time. I'll just like this was the the last album that we put out.
Yeah.
I built this thing. I had this made in wood. This is not graphic design.
Oh, really?
This was this was a wooden. This whole thing was wooden. I didn't want to do any computer work. This was
Oh,
printed out. This was all printed out, so I didn't want to do any graphic layout.
Wow.
But here I am in the band as a member of the band, which I thought was a nice tribute. I was not that involved in making that album, but I was in the earlier album.
I thought I've seen you fight the powder milk
Milkman.
milkman or something.
Powder Milkman, yeah.
Powder milkman. Yeah, I remember
I've
that.
been the Powder Milkman. I fought the Powder Milkman. Yeah, it's been crazy fun. Back in the old days, touring with the Aquabats was hilarious because they would go, okay, now this is where we'll have a fight, and I would surprise, and they wouldn't tell me what I would do. I'd make up the villain. So sometimes I would come out as a creature they didn't know, they didn't know what's going on, and then sometimes I would recruit people to come out and dance. And I had this fire dancing lady that came out that didn't know what to do. It was hilarious. Anyways, it was super fun. I played a really fun role, just supporting Christian and the band. And
Now you reminded me of this one show, Back to the Beach. On that
Mhm.
show, something happened. I guess you guys had a fire extinguisher, and supposedly the fire marshal said you couldn't have it because I don't know for some reason, and then you had to cut the set short or something.
Maybe that sounds typical of it. I don't remember that. I mean, I was the professor in that show, and I was a sand flea, which was, they're bad guys, and we also were a band. That's my answer to that question. What other bands I was in? I was also in Sand Fleas. But yeah, one show I thought was awesome. I'll tell this old story. I know I'm talking way too much, but
You're fine.
we had this one show where our management said, "Hey, if you guys do any more fire on stage or fireworks on stage, we're gonna drop you. So no more of that, okay?" And we had that we understood that, but I don't know why we break our own rules, right? So it was a craziest set. It was a hardcore set up in Big Bear. I think we were playing with H2O and the Cottonmouth Kings, so it was a different crowd.
For sure.
And I remember some guy getting punched, and he had one of these Roman noses, and it was just broken in the side, and he had blood all over him. He was like, "I broke my nose," and there was hecklers in the band that were punching Christian and stuff, and Christian hit him with his microphone, hit him in the head. And there was just it was the craziest show I think we played. There were people hanging from the water pipes, like they were like floating and then hanging from the pipes, and they're like cracking and stuff. And it was nuts. So then I was doing Powdered Milkman, and usually what they would do is they would take lighter fluid and they would spray it all over me, and then if there's then they set me on fire. Christian would probably like blow fire. He had he would blow fire and set me on fire. But Boyd had this idea of putting the lighter fluid in a cup and pouring it on me because then it doesn't look like it came from a bottle.
Right.
Anyways, so what happened was when he did that, it splashed it on me, but it went all on the ground. So they set me on fire. I'm doing this I'm on fire bit, and usually when it gets too hot and scary, I throw the head off. So the asbestos suit like mask off. I throw that off. It hits the ground in that puddle, and the whole stage.
Oh wow!
And this is crazy hardcore, like people fighting each other and fire everywhere, and we're all running around. Oh my gosh! Not only are we going to burn this place down in Big Bear, but like we're losing our management, and oh man, we're screwed. And it was caught on the news, so we had a news camera there. So after the show, my brother goes to go find the newscaster guy, and like he's like, okay, could you the cameraman, you know that part with us setting the stage on fire, could you like not use that footage in your news report? And it's like, what are you talking about? When when you hit the kid with a microphone, we thought we got our story and went and got a beer. So they missed the whole thing. So we're luckily, like it got put on the news that show, but because of the fight, but yeah, not the fire. So,
yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh, the fire was put out. We kept trying to throw water bottles on it. Didn't work. It was somebody had a cooler that had ice on it, and they dumped the cooler in that.
Oh,
right.
But anyways,
that's crazy.
So those are my crazy stories.
That's great. Now I got one last question, guys.
Okay.
What advice would you give to a new ska band starting out today?
Don't. I'm just kidding. Have fun, make friends. Everybody's your friend. I think that was one thing that took me a while to learn. There's a lot of like competition, or at least there was in the 90s when people were getting record deals. There was you could feel competition sometimes, and you just be friends with everybody, just love everybody, and it's all fun. Who cares about your ego? Who cares? I don't know. That's my advice. What would you?
Yeah, same thing. It was just a blast. It was a blast to be a part of, to have fun, to get out there on stage, act a fool.
Act a fool.
No one cares. They just want to have fun there with you. So I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Good message, guys. Thank you.
So now, what does the future hold for GOGO13?
Good question. So I moved to Boise, and he's been living in Boise. We live 3 minutes away. Yeah. We seriously live that close together. Like we could walk to each other's houses if we wanted to walk. But we're old men and we drive cars.
We drive cars.
So it's fun for us to be reunited because we're old pals from the old days. But I think we recently put out this last month a live album, which is on Spotify and everywhere that's streaming, called GOGO13 Goes to Hollywood. And next, I don't think we've got an album in the works, but we're gonna do some singles. We're gonna put out streaming singles periodically throughout this year. So yeah.
What about the country band we wanted to form?
The country band. Well, it's about time. Let's do it now. Oh, Susanna. Anyways, yeah.
That's the first time on the show that this has happened.
Well, we started a band.
So there is going to be some new material, you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's good. Good to hear.
Yeah, we decided to do that. We wanted to kind of we wanted to release some of our old stuff, but now we want to do some new stuff too.
Yeah.
Why not?
So there's a little new segment that I'm adding on this thing here, where I want to start asking bands what T-shirt that they're actually wearing. I see you guys have flannels on though. Dustin, I don't know if you should take off your shirt. I don't know what's under there. But Parker, you got anything there?
I think it's a Vans t-shirt.
Oh, Vans. Jose, what do you got?
Oh, I got Scott
nice.
Teen's shirt
Uh,
that I got over the weekend at Alcor Growing. This is not Cordon Fest.
Oh, the Scottins. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
coolies
You
thing.
You fit
Yeah,
right
coolies.
with our album too,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Yeah,
Salad.
yeah.
and mine is this one.
Some ska
that-
band.
Jose hasn't got his yet, but
Oh, I was gonna say, where's mine?
That's great.
I was
Right
going
here
to wear
somewhere.
an old school Attaboy Skip shirt, but I wasn't sure if it was going to fit me. So.
Right.
I have like all their
Look at that.
Oh,
well, no, here's
yeah.
the old horchata one.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's what happened. So like Horchata was kind of my label. I wanted
And then the
to
the
do that.
repress
Yeah.
that Nicole did.
Good. I'm glad they did that. So because they were tight, yeah, and that
Yeah,
another EP
That's the
was
second one, yeah.
they were tight. They were our friends. I had this idea. I wanted to be Jerry Dammers. I want to have this rad record label, right? So we sent them our logo and said, "You guys are a Horchata Records band," and that's all we did. We sent them their logo, and then the GOGO13 first album was going to be on Horchata. But then after I was gone for 2 years and he was gone for 2 years, the Aquabats kind of adopted Horchata and that became their thing. Look
Size
at
8.
that. So yeah, so that's my logo. That's my art. That was really the only thing that we had connection with them. It's saying that we're friends.
Yeah.
We're buddies with them because they
Nice.
financed that themselves. They put it out themselves, and we really didn't do anything but give them a logo. and by the time I had come back, and the Aquabats were already, they had a different trajectory that they were going with, and so Horchata kind of wasn't a thing. It was about getting on a major label or a bigger label, like Golden Voice, which had Time Bomb distribution, and so Horchata didn't really work out. But
I would love to see those guys on your show.
yeah, I should interview them.
Interview 'em.
Yeah,
Wait, who? Attaboy?
Yeah, yeah, that'd be
I'll
fun.
try to. Yeah, we have. We're 2 months. We had to stop contacting bands because we're already booked through halfway through July now.
Oh, wow. Nice.
oh wow,
With 2 to 3 a week, and it's crazy. It's just insane. But no, it's the same type of thing, like you guys said with Horchata and Attaboy Skip is the same thing that the Hippos did with Fueled by Ramen. We wanted more notoriety, so we put the logo on there as well. And who's better than Less Than Jake to promote your stuff,
right.
you know?
Mhm.
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
But they had legs, right? They could go somewhere. Yeah, but
All right. So, is there any last words that you have for your fans or any viewers out there?
oh, you're gonna make
Skate on.
skate on, you guys. Have fun. No, we love you.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be anything if it wasn't for the support of our fans. I don't know if we're anything.
We have
Period.
a lot of good friends.
But we've had so many good
Yeah.
friends, so many connections, so many people that were outside of our sphere of friendship. If we had stuck to our Mormon communities, we wouldn't have had so many other friends and people to learn from and to just experience the joy of life together with. And so we're grateful to be appreciated and to have so many people that like us. GOGO13, we're happy if you like us. You don't have to love us. We don't have to be your favorite band. We just want you to like us, right?
I like it.
So we're glad you like us. Thank you for liking us. We love you back. We love you. So so thank you. And we want to still be friends.
That's awesome. So appreciate it. We want you guys to hang on for just a moment after we stop recording, but we want to thank you for your time, for sharing, your stories with us, and taking time away from family, things like that. We appreciate you guys. Can't wait to see what you guys got going on next, and having you guys play, down here, or maybe send some bands up to Idaho and find out what's going on there.
Yeah, good luck. But hey,
They've been here before.
come to Idaho. Yeah, pick it up, pick it up. See, there we
All
go.
right, let me go ahead and stop this, and then we'll talk.
Potatoes.
Hello, Skankers! Jose here, aka Skanking Force. Would you like to win a free Ska Box? It's as easy as following Ska Box Rocks and Sniff Dog Records on Instagram and Facebook. And subscribe to Ska History Hour on YouTube and comment Ska Box Rocks in any video to enter. Good luck!